and happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. It's your girl, Milagros here. And today is the first Wednesday of March, and during the month of March, I am focusing on connections. So I was having this conversation recently with a woman about connection, and she said that she wishes that all of her family and all of the people that she knew would just come to know God and know Jesus so that they could be happy. And I thought, okay, so you're happy. You're telling me then that your connection makes you happy, because she doesn't seem very happy. And she said, Maria, you're missing the point. I don't think I am. Are you telling me that you feel as though your relationships with other people are hindered because they don't believe exactly the same way that you believe? But if they did, they would find happiness. But you, in fact, believe those things and don't have happiness? Do you see how it doesn't compute, right? Something doesn't compute. So what happens is we have a tendency to look at other people and to judge the way that they live their lives, and then to say, I'm going to help fix them. I'm going to help save them. And I'm going to almost like withhold my own happiness and my own until they get to that place. Well, if we're truly trying to help other people, the number one thing that you can do, the number one way to help other people is to be a living example of love or of whatever. You want to help people get rich? You have to be rich. You have to be a living example of wealth. You cannot be a poor person or someone who is in significant debt and talk to someone else about being a millionaire and being financially free. Those things do not compute. The number one way that we can teach others is through our living example. How are we living our lives? So before we get ourselves all caught up in the stress of they're not doing the thing that they're supposed to do, right? We put it in a box. Before we do that, let's go ahead and release that sense that we have to fix them or save them in any kind of way, shape, or form, and instead stay connected to love, stay connected to our inner source, and then give that love and just love on them, right? Because in that space, we're going to find peace. You don't have peace because you're trying to fight them, because you yourself are not living with the very thing that you say you're going to get if you do the thing that you say you're going to do. Does that make sense? I hope it did, because it made sense when it came out of my head and out of my mouth. So that's what I have, right? We have to stop putting ourselves second and sometimes denying our own basic human needs in the attempt of making someone else temporarily happy, because the reality is that that is not sustainable. We did not come here to make other people happy long term. Can you bring the happiness? Yes. Can you contribute to happiness? Absolutely. Can you cultivate your own happiness? Yeah, you can. I do it all the time. But is it our job to force that down someone else's throat and say, this is what happiness looks like, and this is that doesn't feel like happiness. That doesn't feel like peace at all. So our job is to make sure that we're focusing on making sure that we are a living example of the thing that we're trying to promote, right? So for instance, if you're trying to promote the light and the love of God, you need to be walking around being the light and the love of God. Are you making healthy decisions? Are you happy? Are you rooted in love? Are you experiencing peace and joy and the blessings and the freedom that comes from being rooted in love? Are you? Because if you're not, again, your focus should not be over there on what's happening with other people in their business. Your focus should be right here. Because if we use Jesus even as an example, because I know that a lot of people relate and they can understand, he didn't go into people's houses and say, you know what you should be doing? You know what you need to be doing? You know what will make your life? He didn't do that. Nope, never, not once. Instead, he knew who he was and whose he was. He aligned himself accordingly, and he just walked around being the light and the love. And that attracted other humans by the thousands, right? We need to spend less time acting like it's our job to be a martyr or a savior, and more time tapping into what keeps us connected. What keeps me happy? What keeps me at peace? What keeps me at joy? And what eventually happens is people will come around and say, how are you so happy all the time? How are you always so peaceful? When it seems like things are falling apart, it doesn't seem to bother you. How is that? And then you say, because they came to you and you're not shoving it down their throat. And then you say, oh, let me tell you about the greatest light ever. Let me tell you about being rooted in love. Let me tell you about this. And when I found this connection, how that allowed me to connect to my own spirit. And then that allowed me to connect to everybody else. And I get to move through the world from that happy place, from that healthy place, from that rooted in love place. But again, our focus in terms of connecting needs to be on making sure that we're good and we're in a place of happiness and we're taking care of ourselves so we can give from our overflow, so we can connect through love, not through judgment, not through fixing, not through saving, just through love. Because the truth is, if we live our lives like judging, trying to fix, trying to save, overwhelming ourselves with the idea that if they only did this, then they would be happy. That's exhausting. That's exhausting. You know what I want to exhaust me? A really great workout. You know what I want to exhaust me? Dancing all night long. You know what I want to exhaust me? Playing with my daughter like a crazy person and then passing out on the couch. That's the kind of exhaustion I want. I don't want mental exhaustion because I'm caught up worried about how someone else is or isn't living their life, when truly my focus needs to be on making sure that I'm doing right by this connection, so I can give and make this connection the best connection ever. So that's what I have for you. Your greatest teaching tool to help anyone in your life is how you live your life and your living example. Get yourself lined up with happy and healthy and aligned and rooted in love. And not so that you can say to them, I'm happy and healthy and rooted in love and you need to be like me. No, that's not what love is. Sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. That's just not what love is. But it's so that we can give from that overflow. So we can give without resentment. So we can give without like this expectation of reciprocity. I'm supposed to get something back. And then when we live like that's really living. Imagine a world where everyone took full responsibility for themselves, for their lives and their choices and their health and their happiness and their peace and their love. Imagine a world where we stop blaming other people. We stop trying to fix or save or judge other people. We tend to self and we give from our overflow. Woo! I think that planet is called Super Sparkly Everything. SSC. The great SSE. Okay, so that's it. That's what I have for you. I hope that you found this beneficial. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you know somebody who could benefit from it, please share it, okay? Because sharing is caring, and that's connecting. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, you can go ahead and subscribe. You'll get one of these in your inbox every week. I love you so much. I hope that you found this to be healthy, and I hope that you take time over this snow day, these next couple of days, this winter weekend, to connect to self, to get yourself rooted in love, to get healthy and happy so you can give from that place, right? Because that's Super Sparkly Everything. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great week. Love you.